Hello and welcome to Victory Lap. I am your host, Stephanie Nilsson. Thank you so much for joining us. Victory Lap is a platform to help people maximize their cruise control, aka comfort zones, power up their pit stops, those unexpected growth zones, and celebrate their victories, those very important anchoring zones, by having real talk with real people who are doing some amazing things. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification button below so that you don't miss any episodes. Now get those engines fired up and meet me at the starting line. This is a lap you will not want to miss. On your marks, get set. Here we go. The quote that I've chosen for today's show is make the impossible possible, make the possible easy, and make the easy elegant. Wouldn't it be great if life was easy? Well, today's guest, he has taken what he's learned through maximizing his cruise control, powering up his pit stops, and celebrating his victories to figure out how to do just that. And he wants to share it with you. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show, engineer and entrepreneur, Mr. Jeff Etringer. Yay! Thanks so much for joining today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Excellent, Stephanie.
Good. So Jeff, I love this concept that you have of make anything easy. So I'd like you to start by maybe sharing a little bit of your background and how you came to this idea and what your intention is with it.
So I actually have been doing automation and controls for many years. I've been in engineering for many years. I've done the manufacturing, automation and control systems. And then I've worked on motorcycles. I've worked on all different types of solar cars. We developed and built and raced solar cars across the US. I worked at Ames Lab for a while, where we actually created a replica of the world's first electronic digital computer.
Wow.
Built back in 1937. And
wow.
It was pretty cool. And then I've worked in refineries to rebuild refineries that have exploded, and we had to rebuild them back in a short time period. That really took a lot of effort and figuring out ways to do things quicker and accelerate them and make them so they go faster so you can get things done. And then just in general, I've been around, my family, my just doing different things, helping people. And what I've learned is that you can simplify things, and to teach people how to do stuff was something I was really excited about. Even my engineers that reported to me when I was in the corporate world, I was able to help them understand how to do something easy. And then I came up with the name. I was like, how do I create? And I found the website, Make Anything Easy. I mean, that was available. And then Make Everything Easy, Make Something Easy, and Make Nothing Easy. And I have those websites.
Oh, I love that. So what is your intent? I mean, to me, I love this idea of making anything easy, because I believe that we complicate things all the time, more than we need to, right?
Yep.
And, I talk about this often with people that I'm coaching and on my show as well, that, you just need to take that step forward and then things will be revealed, right? We talk about that in the corporate world as well. Instead of waiting for that product to be perfect and overcomplicate things, we have to start with an idea and start moving forward with it, right? So this is how I've made my life easy, is letting go of what the end is and the outcome and start taking those steps. So I want to understand your ideas and your concepts and how you want to affect other people with this.
Yeah. So essentially just giving kind of a framework of an idea on how you could make things easy, a way to approach it, for figuring out new software, for figuring out hardware. So the current project that I'm working on is how do you get online easily? So what are the steps that you take to get online, to be able to present like you're doing right now?
Yeah.
So how do you figure out your microphone, your lighting? And there's 5 things that I've figured out that are very easily that you can go through, and I can help you go through it, set up a studio, and figure out how to go online easy. So that's sound.
Yeah.
Lights. So the lighting, the sound. So you can see my lighting, and then the sound is where does the sound come from? And then the camera, where's the camera at? Connection. and the ability to connect. How quickly are you connected? And then, and so that's very important because you need some redundancy in there. So it's sound, lights, camera, connection, and then action is the last thing. Is that what are the actions that you're taking? How are you moving in the space?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because if you're moving in the space, how do people feel about that? I think that we're not able to communicate as well over online as we used to be able to. We're not used to in person,
right?
And so that's something that I'm kind of passionate about now, is teaching people how to do that, how to use the systems, like I did with you, setting up the sound at the beginning, making sure the echo and the lighting and everything was right. Those kinds of things are basic, but there's a lot of people who don't know how to do that. So I'm going to
overlook it.
What's
that? They overlook it. They don't have the awareness to consider those things, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of the process of making anything easy with software and hardware, and even these huge projects that I've done, multi-million-dollar projects. If you sit down and you start to look at things more of a high level, and you look at them and break them down and develop a pattern of discovery or troubleshooting something, I can go through any program and help you figure out what's in that program and what could possibly be there, because I used to write programs like this. I used to build things that would help you run an entire refinery or, a factory.
Right.
So, and those things, if you messed it up, boom.
Oh yeah, big
not
problem.
Good. Here, it would just go blank for a second, and that would be it. It's not that big of a deal. Something would shut off for a second.
So how did you go from overhauling refineries to wanting to do online content and teaching people how to do that with studios and such?
I think I'm starting that process, so I'm hoping people will go on that journey with me. I've always been to my nieces and nephews, always been Uncle Jeff. They just call me, hey, Uncle Jeff, can you help us fix this? Can you help us do that? And I've always liked to help people. So I made the decision that in order to impact 1 million people, I could do that through going online, developing my brand, developing my company, make anything easy, and then help people discover how to do it. I just transitioned. I owned 2 businesses previous to this. So I had some very successful businesses that I enjoyed doing that did systems integration, going into different factories and then upgrading them to the latest equipment with robots and PLCs and all the stuff. And that's stuff that I enjoyed in the past. And I'm like, okay, well, now it's time for something new. I think I enjoy not having to go into a factory. I can have a team of people that can help get people online. I can build a studio system, have it shipped off to someone. They could have it at their home, and then they could set it up and show them how to easily set up a system at their house.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And, I think it's really, really relevant. I mean, the world's changed in this last year, right?
Yeah.
And I know for myself, my corporate role, I'm a business development manager, and I need to visit my clients. Well, how do you do that successfully under these circumstances? How do you still get that intimate feel in front of somebody when you need to do it from sitting behind a computer desk, right? So I think that there's so much potential for you in this because we all need to learn how to make our online presence stronger, whether we're doing it to try to educate the masses or bring a message forward, or just in our daily lives of connecting with our family and our colleagues and our friends and our customers. We need to look at things differently. So do you want to speak a little bit about that and how your concept helps?
Yeah, I think what you realize is when you're online, when everything is great and everything's perfect, people don't even realize that you're online.
Yeah.
But when things are wrong and stuff's kind of off and you don't hear something and somebody's off in the distance and there's some weird light or something, and those things, you're very uncomfortable, or somebody's like really down low and they're talking to you and you're like, you feel that, you feel that inside, and that's just human nature. So you get uncomfortable, and you just kind of, that confidence and that trust. Just when you're communicating with people, if you're getting closer and able to talk to them and the different stuff that happens, and even where your gaze is. So as I'm looking, I look at myself, and you start to do that. And some people just stare at themselves the whole time they're talking, which doesn't feel as engaged. So teaching people to look into the camera more and things like that. I think that trust building and everything else is very important in life. Trusting, a handshake deal. If you make a handshake on something to say you're going to do it, then you do it. And that confidence is important.
I think you just made a really good point there. How do you build the trust online?
Yeah.
Again, I sit in front of my customers, we chit chat, we engage, we read each other's body language, we can read the room. When you're online, it's different, so I agree with you. How do you build trust from sitting behind a screen? Because people, they could be whoever they want to be on the other side of that screen, and you don't know, right? Yep. What their truth is. You get a better feel when you're in person. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I think even sometimes you don't even see them. Sometimes they'll just have their camera off and you're having a discussion. And when you're in a meeting, and if you're trying to do a business deal and there's multiple people in the room, you never really get to understand even those interactions. And those are the things that are missing out in rooms, are those dynamic shifts, those sounds, the legs crossing, just those glances that everybody looks, when they're in a meeting, they look at the other person really quick and they want to see what that person's reaction is.
Yes.
So they do it now on meetings, but you can't tell who they're looking at.
Yes.
Or and this is in large meetings that have huge meetings for figuring out these projects with multiple engineers, you do that. So I think that's important, that we recognize that some of those signals that we used are all gone now.
Yes.
And how do you do that now in this space?
Exactly. Another thing too, I have some girlfriends that I think are amazing humans, and they have fantastic stories. They have great things to share.
Yeah.
And I've invited them on the show, but they're very uncomfortable. And they're like, no, you know what? I'm going to pass. I don't think that's quite the right thing for me. Although they would bring so much value. And I think the show might even bring value to them and their exposure.
Right.
Can you say anything to people like that?
Yeah. I think that they have to, I don't know, you have to press the record button kind of deal. That's what we did. We pressed the record button to do that. I think the best route, if I was to encourage them or show them how to do it, it'd be get them to just start with a Skype call, get, a Skype, Zoom, StreamYard, something. Just get on a camera and start doing that. And then let them see what they look like and how they feel. And just have a discussion. Start with the phone and then, work their way up slowly. I think about these things. It's interesting because I think about my mother. And I'm like, well, how would I bring my mom to this? So I've actually got her where she's online with me and she can talk. And so I'm like, I'll send her a kit that'll allow her to light everything up and have the sound and have all the things. And that way we can be online a little cleaner. But you got to make it easy so people can turn this stuff on easily. You got to figure out the level of technology and their comfort with technology. Yes. So it's I think you start with the small things. Like the first thing I would have them do is, if they have an iPhone, is FaceTime with you. Yeah. And practice talking to you via FaceTime and start to feel comfortable. And then maybe you get them in a spot where you can record them and then they look good. Make sure they look good when they do that, and then present that back to them and say, hey, you looked really good. And maybe we could improve your voice and make it sound a little better or something, and things like that. And I think that would encourage them to then start to tell their stories. Right. And get them in a comfortable spot too. So I
love this. And, when you talked about your mom, right? Again, this is wonderful to help people of, a later generation, not only communicate and communicate in a way that is, like you said, not frustrating, because we all know that when the mic's not working or you can't like all of those things, it creates frustration. So then there's not the flow of the conversation. But another thing that might be neat, this just came into my head as you were talking about your mother, is that maybe this might be a nice way for the older generation to record their stories and feel comfortable in doing that, and to share with the younger generation as kind of a keepsake, instead of the old journaling, to do it like this.
So that's funny. I have a friend, she just started doing that. She actually went and recorded last month, recorded a guy, and he passed away this just recently, but she recorded him telling his story, telling everything. Yeah. And then he passed. It was just like, wow. the power of recording that so that it's for the future, so that they have something, because they're not able to interact as much. So that legacy. I think was it the National Museum, some museum, the Smithsonian or something, had a booth that you could go into. This was years ago. You could go into it and you record your story, and they archived it.
Yes.
And so you could go into the booth. Remember that?
I do remember something about that. Yeah, that's very cool. They should bring something like that back.
Well, but that's what this is. What
that's true. That's true. Yeah. That's really cool.
I was thinking about that too, is that making a mobile kit that could be sent to the hospital or homes or places that are on lockdown. So then they can have that small kit, whatever it be, that then they could use to just record and talk, and then they send the kit back. You sanitize it and then move on to the next, but something that would allow them kind of like a mobile station like that. So
that's really cool.
It's an interesting idea. I might dabble with that.
So, I mean, I know that with your website, it's not limited to, or your concept is not limited to just the video.
Correct.
So do you want to talk a little bit more about what other things that you're looking at and you're going to bring on board?
Yeah, so make anything easy. You take the word anything and you replace it with studio or going online. So make yoga easy.
Yes.
So I do yoga and I do it every day and almost every day.
If I make that easy, I'd appreciate it.
I can show you how to do yoga easy. I actually can. I've actually done that. I've done billiards and pool.
Talk about that for a second, because that's really interesting. Yeah.
So I've traveled the world, but I was in Las Vegas for 6 years in a row. I did trick shot competitions. And I have some friends that are amazing pool players that are some of the world's best, that have traveled the world, literally the world, playing pool and billiards. So that was just something I did on the side when I was going to school for 12 years. I enjoyed playing pool while I was in college. And then I did motorcycles. So make motorcycles easy. So I did a lot of motorcycle riding and make adventure easy. I just came back from India last year. I was in Morocco. I was in South Africa. I was at the Isle of Man for the Isle of Man motorcycle races. Wow. So going on adventures, I went to the highest road in the world, 18,800 feet on a motorcycle. Snow, ice, sleet, everything. And so that was an adventure. So that would be another thing that I would help people figure out how to do adventures. And
or just travel in general. I mean, I know that I went to Italy for 19 days 2 years ago. And it was the first time that I had done a big multi-destination trip like that. And I planned it on my own. I went on my own. I did everything. And it was amazing. It was the most incredible experience I think I've had to date. But there was so much to learn. There was so much effort into, where do I stay? How do I know that this is going to be a good place? How do I know I'm going to be safe? Where do I travel to? Like, to have something like that would be amazing.
So making anything easy would provide the framework and a process, a thought process on how do you go about selecting those things? What is the thought process about making an adventure work? So I kind of maximize that. That was what I studied in engineering, is how do you optimize systems? And so when I was in factories, I would optimize the system so that it would save you the most amount of money, the least amount of steps, achieve an outcome or a goal. And so figure out the framework. How do you go about thinking about how are you going to stay, where are you going to stay, what you're going to do? And it changes because it shifts you into a different mindset that you can accomplish so much more. If you look at it this way. So that's something that I want to build out as well, is how do you make adventure easy? Go ahead.
Well, no, I love that you're bringing it back to the thought process.
It is.
Again, this is where we overcomplicate things, right? We look at something and we think, oh my God, it's too large, it's too big, it's too this, it's too that, right? But if you can just bring it down, simplify it, and put the right thought process into place, then it really becomes easy. And then you can take that thought process that you've learned and you can apply it to different areas, right?
So I did that with baking. I did that with how do you make brownies? The really cool chocolate chip Oreo cookie brownies with Rice Krispies, all this Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups or different things, or even just baking or stuff in general. When you figure out a process that can do that, a framework, it just simplifies stuff, and it really does make it easy. So.
Absolutely. I actually am doing a presentation tomorrow on time management.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited about it because one of the things that I learned about time management that I think is really cool, and again, it comes to the processes, right?
Yep.
Is that every time that you move from one activity to another, you lose your effectiveness, right? So if you want to be effective, you need to block time for certain tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that your rhythm flows during the week too. So if you know that you're far more introverted on Mondays, then Mondays should be strategic days. If you're more outgoing on Wednesdays, then Wednesdays should be the days that you reach out and have more interaction with customers, do interviews, do that kind of thing, right? Fridays are good follow-up days. So not only block your time so that you're working on similar activities so you lose your efficiency, but then you also go with your natural rhythm so you're getting the full effect of what you're putting in, right?
I would add to that. And
good, because I need
something. Yeah, what would add to that is don't even worry about what day it is, because then sometimes if you miss it on like a Friday, darn it, I missed it. Okay, I'll do it next Friday. Then you instead of that, look for the energy. So there's some good books on energy, how to lose at almost, or how to fail at almost everything and still win big. Scott Adams, Dilbert wrote about this, about following your energy. Work on your energy and your energy will follow, and you'll be able to do that. So what you're talking about, the ebbs and flows, you'll be able to jump in and do it when your energy's high. So don't worry about what day, but make sure you have, okay, I'm going to try it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever the time is, depending on the food and your physical energy is what you want to follow for that. So I would remove the time element of that.
I like that too, because one of the things that you have to have is the ability to be flexible.
Yeah.
Because not only do we feel different on different days, right? So if our schedule is set in stone, then, that can create some turmoil, but also we don't know what's going to come our way. Right.
And finding ways that are going to energize you. You don't know what's coming, but why is it you're feeling that way? And to look inward. Really, it is about, is it something else? And then set with that or remove that. Oh, I'm really upset because my parents are sick or this is happening.
Yes.
And recognize that those outside things affect you. You're not a robot.
Yes.
So how do you compartmentalize those things, put them to the side? This is my yogi coming out.
Yes.
And then recognizing how to group the things that you want to put together. So when you're saying that those tasks, so interruptions, and I think there was a study, I'm trying to think of it. I sent it to my parents. There's a study broken down on how does it break, or when you switch tasks, how much time do you lose?
I have this.
Interrupted 20 minutes, I think it was, or something.
20%.
20%.
No, the first time you're interrupted, like if you shift out from one to another, 20%. If you then shift to another, it's 40%.
Whoa.
If you shift to another, it's 60%.
Okay. So it's a chunk of time. And so that brings me back to why when I did industrial engineering and electrical and mechanical, I did all these engineering things. One of the things in industrial engineering is figuring out the process, PUGI, process for ongoing improvement.
Right.
You figure out when you switch. So say you're manufacturing something, Coca-Cola, and it needs to switch to Sprite, and then it needs to switch to the next thing. Those interruptions are what we're talking about. So how do you minimize those and make them as close as possible? So you find out what flows best from one thing to the next, and then you reorganize those in a way that then makes it that it minimizes that changeover.
Yes.
So when you're doing manufacturing, to change these parts and to change it to this one, it's much better if we do it in this order, and then you reorganize everything. But you focus on the thing that takes the longest.
Yes.
So what is it that takes the longest? Is it the editing? Is it something else? And then that's the thing that you figure out how to maximize the time on. And you don't focus on the things that take less time. And then how do you switch to that? So those are the things that I'm really good at. And that's what I'm bringing with Make Anything Easy. That process applies to everything or anything.
Yes. And I love what you just said about focus on the thing that is going to take the most amount of time.
Yep.
Because what we tend to do is we leave that to the end because we think, oh God, that's going to be so encompassing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we push it off, procrastinate. But really, if we made that our main and get that out of the way, everything else just is like, oh, this. And then we feel like we've become very productive, right?
Yeah.
And usually the thing that takes the most amount of time is often the thing that's most important for us.
It can be. And that's the other part. That's where you're grouping those things together, is figure out what should you even be doing. Because it may take the most amount of time, but it's cleaning your house and it's not actually.
Yes, exactly. That's true.
You're like, why am I cleaning my house? Well, it takes a long time to clean my house. Well, you're supposed to be down the road driving in your car or something else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, that's a good point. There was another thing that I wanted to make there. I don't know. It'll come back to me. This happens. This happens a lot.
Yeah.
How do you make that easy?
Memory. It's called notes or jotting. Or just play the recording back. You'll figure it out.
That's right. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I think that this is brilliant what you're doing. And I love how it applies to so many different avenues in life. And I'm a big believer in thoughts, create things.
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in processes, because when you have to always remember, and written down processes, because if it's always in your head, it just becomes too much. But if you write it down, then you don't have to think about it. Like even with my videos, okay, checklist. Do I have my camera on? Do I have my mic on? Do I have my link? Do I have my, did I send the link to my guest?
Yep.
But when you have the checklist, then it's not in your head and you can create space for more.
You offload it into that process and then follow it. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now it's time to get into the Victory Lap questions.
Okay.
So the first question that I have for you is, how do you maximize your cruise control? And what I mean by that is, I don't think that living in your comfort zone is necessarily a bad thing, as long as you don't get stagnant in it, right? And there's a lot of ways that we can live very comfortably, but still be choosing to grow. So how do you do that in your life, Jeff?
So I think what I do is I focus on learning things from outside. So I'm always trying to listen to new audiobooks. I speed them up, so I go to like × on a lot of them, just depending on how the person's speaking and the cadence. So I'm always listening to new books, different things that ideas and stuff that'll help me figure out how to just approach things differently. Because I think if you're able to do that and look at a total different point of view from a total different side, you can kind of clear some things up for yourself, and you don't take them as seriously.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think people take stuff so seriously sometimes that they, can be self-deprecating.
Agreed.
Yeah, which is not good. The self-talk and the things that you say to yourself are very important.
Yes.
And you wouldn't let someone else talk to you that way. So why would you say those? Oh man, I missed this. I missed it. I'm not going to do it now. And you give up pretty easily. Yeah. So I think that self-talk and then just listening to those books, reading books, can help you find a different voice.
Yes.
And then change your voice to be better.
I love that. And this is something that I've recognized in myself, and I'm learning to switch faster.
Yeah.
I don't take things as personal anymore. When I'm taking things personally, I am going down a rabbit hole of trying to prove myself. But when I go, you know what, that's not about me. That's about them. Oh my gosh, the freedom that I live in and the comfort that I live in.
Yes.
It's just amazing, right? And so I think you're absolutely right. That shift in perspective. And when you realize you don't have to take everything personal, own what's yours, but leave the rest.
Yeah. And it's a little easier now that you're online because you're not in that environment. So you're not feeling that. So that's an actual plus to being separated. You're not in those groups or the people where you start to feel, something different if you're in a large group of people.
Right.
Things like that may have happened before. Now you can, but that's also a detriment because you're by yourself. And then you only have your voice. You don't have anything else. Yeah. You know how fast that's going.
Yes. COVID crazy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you power up your pit stops. And to me, those are those unexpected growth zones that life throws at you, like getting a flat tire.
Yeah.
How do you get out of those situations quicker than maybe you used to? Because I know that for me, that's changed. I don't stay down as long as I used to, that's for sure. And how do you suggest other people can get out of those situations that they didn't see coming quicker and with a more positive attitude?
I think the biggest thing is to reach out. You have a network of people. So figure out who are the people around you that might be able to help you. Your network is strong. People go, I don't have a network. I'm like, the heck you don't.
Yeah.
You have people around. Call your parents, call your siblings, call someone, an aunt, an uncle. Even if here's the thing that I've learned. I've got a gigantic family. I have 220 of us. My mom comes from a family of 11. My dad.
I don't know if I should say sorry or not.
No, it's good. It's good. It's wonderful. I mean, I feel blessed that I have that because my mom's family of 11, 7 girls and 4 boys, and my dad, the family of 14, 7 boys and 7 girls. So those are my aunts and uncles, and underneath all there's 220 cousins. Wow. So I have seen so many things, so many amazing things happen. And what I've learned, and this is again to make anything easy kind of deal, is that, hey, if you just go and talk to anybody, any of them, it could be someone that you don't even know, and you just talk and you get energized. You have a discussion with them. You're going to work out and talk about those things that you might need to work on. So when you're struggling and you need to power up or something, have a conversation with someone. And if it may not be that first person you call or the second, it may take a third person, but if you can talk through those things with them and have those discussions, which I notice you get energized when you start interviewing.
Yes.
So do I.
Yes.
So I feel the same things. That's what I want to do with Make Anything Easy. So how do you do great interviews? Well, Steph would be on there. How do you make interviews easy? You would be a guest and I'd discuss that.
That'd be awesome.
But by getting that energy from talking to that person, you can figure out what it is and have that discussion. And each part's going to build something and figure out how you can increase it or make it better or power it up or figure out what will work. And then you'll find somebody that is the appropriate person to talk about for a particular topic. I'm trying to figure out how to do this thing. And you'll know that Uncle Bob is the best one to talk about that or someone else. And you'll find those people that are willing to listen and let you have that discussion, because typically you're trying to work something out in your brain and the other person doesn't realize it. And all of a sudden you go, oh, wow, I figured it out.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to comment on this because 2 things have come out of those 2 points that you've made from the cruise control and the pit stops.
Yeah.
I just want to say that everybody struggles. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has self-talk. I know that for a lot of people, they look at others and they see them in their best light and they think, oh my gosh, I'm less than because I'm not like them. And it's not true.
Right.
I want to just really emphasize that message that we all have our struggles and none of us is better and none of us is less. We just do it differently and we look at it differently. And when you start finding the tools to learn to get out of your struggles or to have better self-talk or to increase your awareness, you can change. It doesn't matter where you start, you can change. So I just wanted to mention that to anybody that's watching, that don't try to position yourself with other people because we all struggle. If you don't think that the Tony Robbins of the world has bad days and they struggle too, then you're wrong. Right. And then the second thing that I wanted to say about with respect to the powering up your pit stops and reaching out to people, we are not meant to live alone. And we often keep our struggles to ourselves and we don't share them with other people, and it isolates them and makes them harder. And I have a story that I'll share very quickly to talk to this. I used to suffer so badly with panic and anxiety. It was debilitating. I couldn't get out of my house some days. It was so bad. And it would go up and down and up and down. And I held so much shame. I didn't want anybody to know. So I kept it all to myself. I think only my mom, I don't even think my immediate family knew how much I was going through and how much I was struggling. And then one day I was in a position to go on a gondola ride with a person that I barely knew. And the anxiety was so bad that I said, I can't do it. I can't. And I let them go by themselves. Right. And I was so ashamed. And I got to the point where I felt I had to share why I couldn't go with that person. And they turned around and they said to me, I totally get it. I struggle with depression. And when he turned around and said that to me, it was like the chains just fell. And I realized we don't have to struggle alone. There's people out there. We've all gone through something, especially in this day and age. We've all gone through something. We've all had something that holds us back, that stands in our way, that we feel shameful for. But if we can start sharing that with other people, it frees us. And if you share it with the right people that aren't going to judge you,
that in a protected environment. Yes,
exactly. Right. So I know it's a little deviant, but I think that that's really important for people that are listening to understand that. Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's spot on. I think that stems from a lot of the things why we make stuff more difficult.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and it's because you it's actually the mental process around it, the thought process around and you start to think about what everyone's going to think about you, different stuff, or what are those anxieties, the gondola ride? Oh, what's going to happen on the gondola? How's this going to play out? And instead of just embracing and doing it, it can really freeze you and put you in a spot you're not able to move.
And limit you.
Yeah. And I think the awareness part is huge. I was reading or listening to Awareness by Anthony DeMello. Really good book. Not book. Well, it's him speaking. Excellent source of awareness and how you think about yourself. You think you're grandiose and different stuff, but the reality is that your awareness of yourself and the things around you, you need to be concerned about yourself and focus inward more than anything else, but in a positive way.
But not only that, people think that when you work on yourself and you live in self-love first, that it's selfish. But what they fail to realize is that the more that you heal yourself and you work on yourself and have your self-love, then you're more able to give and inspire others, right? So it's really important that we bring it back.
You're in an open situation where you can receive what they're saying and you're not judging and you're not thinking. Even and it used to be, at least for me, I think it was about me. And the reality is, this has nothing to do about me. This is there. It's coming from inside of them.
Yes, exactly.
What's inside of me that I'm going to put out? And it's like, and I've always loved to help people. So I've always done that in the past. I'm like, well, I can do that through a business and do it through helping people. And then I can help, get to my goal of helping a million people, or not helping. See, that's where I had to change it. I want to impact 1 million people.
I love that.
It might be negative too, but it'll be an impact nonetheless. So I've got 1 or 2 people that don't like it. So that gives me some room.
Absolutely.
I don't need to judge myself. There's some people I impact them negatively because they didn't like the way,
and that's okay.
Process. Yeah.
And that's okay, right?
Better.
Okay. So let's talk about how you celebrate your victories.
So how I celebrate my victories is once I achieve a project or do something, I typically like to get on my motorcycle, do an adventure, be around my friends and family. I can't do that now. I can be around my friends that ride motorcycles because we have helmets on.
Nice, yes.
And so we ride, and we're each on our own motorcycle, so we can take off and go into the mountains. I've been riding with a good friend now. We've been having a blast, just riding through the mountains, enjoying it, and then coming back. There's a lot of other motorcycle riders up here in North Georgia. It's beautiful. We have some amazing roads and scenery and things. And then you can plan a trip to somewhere else. So those kinds of things. And even sometimes I'll just do a fun project. I'll actually do something like a project like, I'm going to build something. I'm going to build my set or do something like that. Yeah. It's a reward for me too, because it's something that I enjoy. So.
And I think it's so important to reward ourselves, even if it's something little, like when you go to the grocery store, buy yourself a treat, or, a bath bomb and have a bath that night or whatever. Like, we have to reward ourselves as we go through our processes, right?
I've got a tip for you. So this
Yes.
is something we have to think about. And I thought about this a lot as I went into the store. Think about what it was when you were little and you were a little kid. What was it that your parents, oh, well, you get this. So it might have been the grocery store. You get to buy that impulse thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Or we get to go to Wendy's after you go to a dental appointment, or you get to do that and get Frosty and French fries or something. But those things that happen when you were a child, and a lot of this stuff that we have on the inside, it stems from our childhood.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And so what is it that happened when you were a kid that when you celebrated that just gave you the greatest, oh, I got a balloon, I got this, who knows what. But think about those things that were the most rewarding for you then, and you'll feel it inside of you. And you'll know that's how I want to celebrate.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, where can people find you?
So they can find me at makeanythingeasy.com. So I'm using the website. I have a YouTube channel right now, Make Anything Easy. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers because I'm just launching this.
Yes.
So if I can get to 100 subscribers, I can change my URL over so it says Make Anything Easy. Yes. And then, so that's another one. And then just my email, which is, it can be at info@makeanythingeasy.com. We'll come to my personal one, which is jetringer@makeanythingeasy.com. So J-E-T Ringer, which is my last name.
Yes, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. And then obviously just getting a hold of you to get a hold of me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jeff, I think you've been an amazing guest. I'm so glad that you joined us today. What you're doing is wonderful. And I'm behind you 100% on impacting those million people. So whatever I can do to help, let me know.
Thank you. And likewise with me too, anything I can do to help you or anyone. I mean, those are things that just if someone has just anything that wow, I think that guy might know something to fix it. That's what my aunts and uncles do. They'll call me, Jeff knows. And sure enough, I'll help them with electrical, mechanical, fixing anything. My neighbors come over all the time. I'm helping them fix whatever it is they bring to me. So
love it. Love it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, you've been an amazing guest, and I'm so glad you're part of the show.
Wonderful show. I love your show.
Thank you so much. Great. Well, you go out there and make anything easy today, and we'll be talking soon then.
Well, you made this easy, so I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Have a great day, Jeff. Thank you. Ciao. Bye. Wow. What an amazing conversation. You know what impacted me the most about today's guest? It's just how positive he is and how he's able to make anything easy. I think Jeff would be a lot of fun to work with. Let me know what you thought of today's show in the comments below. One of the things that I love most about Victory Lap is that it showcases everyday people who've been inspired to do some pretty cool things. If you've been inspired to maybe start a new business, go for that promotion at work, improve your relationship, or want to level up in any area of your life, but you don't know where to start, I can help you with that. Check out my website at www.stephanienielsen.ca to see the different ways in which I can work with you. For more episodes of inspired people doing cool things, check out www.victorylap.ca. And if you have an inspiring story, fill out that contact us form. You just may be the next guest on the show. You can also find me on social media, Facebook and Instagram at stephanienielsen.ca and Twitter at Stevie Creates. So keep those comments coming. I love to hear from you guys. Maybe you can even share some of the ways in which you're celebrating your victories. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next lap. Ciao, ciao.